I'm Dipankar, and today I'm incredibly excited to share my hands-on experience with the most awaited camera for wildlife photographers, the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II. As a professional wildlife photographer and long-time user of the original Sony Alpha 1, this new version feels like the upgrade I have been hoping for. Sony has fine-tuned so many aspects I found limiting in real-world use, and those refinements have made a huge difference in how efficiently I can shoot. From the newly refined ergonomic design to the powerful subject recognition autofocus powered by a dedicated AI processor, and the features like the pre-capture shooting, ultra-small focus area spot size, and the much welcome 4-axis multi-angle monitor, every feature now feels purpose-built for real-world shooting conditions. The addition of a dedicated new front custom button, improved low-light ISO performance, and the enhanced 8.5 stops of in-body image stabilization all come together to make this camera a dream for a bird and wildlife photography. So there's so much to cover in this video, so it might run a little long, but I have included timestamps to help you jump straight to the features you are most interested in. The original Sony Alpha 1 launched in 2021 is still considered a legendary flagship, a benchmark that even today's top-tier cameras from other brands continue to compete with. The new Sony Alpha 1 Mark II builds upon that iconic foundation, retaining the same 50-megapixel Exmor RS CMOS sensor, now powered by the Sony's latest BIONZ XR image processing engine. While the resolution remains unchanged, the image quality sees a noticeably leap forward thanks to improved color reproduction, more accurate auto exposure and white balance, and significantly better low-light ISO performance. With this high-resolution sensor, you still get an incredible amount of details even after heavy cropping, which gives you huge freedom to recompose and punch into your frame without compromising quality. But what truly sets the Alpha 1 Mark II apart is the addition of a dedicated AI processing unit. This enables next-level subject recognition, including more precise human pose estimation and highly accurate tracking of animals, birds, insects, and even vehicles, matching the performance of the Sony A9 Mark III. The AI subject detection is not only faster but far more accurate and intelligent, allowing the camera to recognize and track a variety of subjects with greater accuracy than ever before. The Alpha 1 Mark II continues to deliver 30 fps continuous shooting in compressed RAW, which is more than enough for capturing high-speed birds and wildlife action. And for bird photographers like me, the revolutionary pre-capture shooting features is a game changer. I no longer miss those critical takeoff moments that used to happen just a split of a second. With the Sony Alpha 1 II, you now get the perfect trifecta in a single camera. The incredible speed, high resolution, and advanced autofocus performance that exactly what professionals need for wildlife, sports, and first action photography. Let's start with what matters most for wildlife, bird, and action photographers, the autofocus. With the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II, autofocus has been taken an entirely new level thanks to the addition of a dedicated AI processing unit. Unlike the original Sony Alpha 1, which already had an impressive AF system, the Alpha 1 Mark II delivers dramatically improved subject recognition and tracking performance. It no longer just detects eyes and face, it can now recognize eyes, face, heads, and full body using advanced human pose estimation technology. As a result, human eye autofocus has been improved by 30% compared to the original Alpha 1. Sony has expanded the subject recognition options in the menu. Alongside humans, birds, and animals, the Alpha 1 Mark II can now also track insects, cars, trains, airplanes with high accuracy. And what's even more exciting is the new auto mode in the subject recognition, which allows the camera to intelligently detect and track the subject type without manually switching between categories. While it might take a split second longer to identify the subject in this mode, but the auto mode is a game changer, especially for unpredictable field scenarios. One of the biggest upgrades I personally appreciate is in video autofocus. On the original Sony Alpha 1, eye detection in the video mode was limited to human. I really miss having eye tracking app for birds and animals while shooting the video. But now with the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II, that limitation is gone. It can now recognize and track the eyes of not only humans but also birds, animals and even insects during video recording. And this is a massive step forward for wildlife videographers like me. With the power of the new AI engine, the Alpha 1 II doesn't just detect the eyes, it now understands the full structure of the subject, recognizing head and body position as well. This has led to a 30% improvement in animal recognition and an impressive 50% improvement in bird eye detection, making it far more reliable when shooting fast moving or partially obscured wildlife. While the original Alpha 1's autofocus system was already one of the best in the market, I occasionally focused on the tail or body of small birds even with IF active, something I have experienced many times in the field. With the Alpha 1 Mark II, that issue has been drastically minimized. The AI now continuously identifies and locks onto birds' heads and eyes even in tricky situations. As a bird photographer working in the field, especially with small and fast moving subjects, I've always relied heavily on small spot AF for precise focusing. But in real world scenarios, especially when the bird is at a distance or partially obscured by foreground elements like branches and leaves, the standard spot size often isn't enough. Many times a large part of the focus area would fall on the obstruction instead of the bird itself, resulting in missed focus. Sony has addressed this challenge brilliantly in Alpha 1 Mark II by introducing two brand new AF spot sizes, extra small and extra large. This new extra small spot F is a total game changer for small birds and distant subjects. Now I can lock focus exactly where I want to, even through layers of distracting branches or leaves, making it much easier to nail the critical focus on tiny hidden subjects. On the flip side, the extra large spot is extremely useful for fast and erratic subjects that move unpredictably across the frame. What's even more impressive is that you can now customize the size and shape of your focus area using the camera's dials and control wheels, giving you complete flexibility to adapt to any shooting condition on the fly. The Alpha 1 Mark II also retains the same powerful 759-point high-density face detection AF system from the original Alpha 1, covering a massive 92% of the frame, ensuring you are never limited by focus placement. Whether you are isolating a tiny bird hidden behind leaves or tracking one in full flight, this improved focus system gives you the best tools to lock on instantly and accurately. For bird and wildlife photography, this kind of control and precision is exactly what we have been waiting for. One of the biggest challenges I have faced in bird photography, especially with small and fast moving species, is capturing the exact moment a bird takes off. These movements are often unpredictable, and by the time I anticipate the action and press the shutter, the bird has already left the frame. I have lost countless incredible shots this way, but with the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II, that frustration is finally over thanks to the game-changing pre-capture feature. This powerful new tool allows the camera to continuously buffer images and actually capture 0.03 to 1 second before you press the shutter button. That means even if your reaction is a split second late, the camera has already frozen the moment you are trying to catch. It's an absolute must-have for bird photographers and something I deeply missed on the original Alpha 1. With this feature now in Alpha 1 Mark II, I can confidently say I am no longer missing those magical split-second takeoff shots. It's not just the autofocus, the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II also brings significant upgrades in build quality and handling, making it even more reliable tool for wildlife photographers working in demanding environments. Like the Alpha 1, the Alpha 1 Mark II is compact and robust with improved weather sealing that goes beyond what the original Alpha 1 offered. Sony has constructed the camera with a high rigidity magnesium alloy chassis reinforced with 6 mount attachment screws for added durability. This rugged build gives you the confidence to shoot in tough conditions, whether you are dealing with dusty trails, humid forest, or sudden light rain. What stands out even more in the field is the new redesigned ergonomic grips. Sony has refined the body design with a more rounded shape, enhancing both grip, comfort, and stability, especially noticeable during extended handheld shooting sessions. This new design reduces hand fatigue and provides a more secure grip. Sometimes you immediately notice when tracking fast moving wildlife through long lenses. Just like the original Alpha 1, the Alpha 1 Mark II features a dedicated autofocus mode dial on the top left side with a drive mode dial stacked above it. One issue I consistently faced with the Sony Alpha 1 was the lack of a menu option to change the drive mode. If I needed to switch the drive mode suddenly during a shot, I had to lift my eyes from the viewfinder and use my left hand to physically turn the dial, which wasn't always practical, especially in high pressure or fast paced situations. It became even more difficult when the camera was partially covered due to rough weather condition or due to rain, making the dial hard to access. But thankfully Sony has solved this problem in Alpha 1 Mark II by adding a new disable position on the drive mode dial. Once disabled, you can now change the drive mode directly from the menu, just like any other settings, giving you much more flexible and speed in the field. It's a small but very thoughtful upgrade that makes a big difference for real world wildlife and action photographers. On the top right, the Alpha 1 Mark II retains a familiar mode dial layout, but one of the most welcome changes is the separate mode selection for photo and video, a feature that was missing in the original Sony Alpha 1. This makes switching between shooting stills and recording video much faster, especially in the field when time is critical. The rest of the buttons layout remains largely similar to Alpha 1, maintaining the muscle memory for existing users. However, Sony has introduced a new front custom button, which by default acts as a continuous shooting speed boost button, allowing you to instantly increase your burst speed when needed. Of course, like most buttons of Sony bodies, it's fully customizable, giving you the flexibility to assign it to any function that suits your shooting style. It's a thoughtful addition that adds both speed and control to your workflow. One of the most important updates I have personally been waiting for is the addition of the 4-axis multi-angle LCD monitor. The screen is now slightly larger at 3.2 inches and features a significantly improved 2.1 million dot resolution. This new design allows for far greater flexibility, making it much more easier to shoot vertically or capture wildlife photos and videos from difficult or low angles. Whether I'm lying flat on the forest floor or trying to frame a shot over tall grass, this new screen gives me freedom and visibility I need in the field. As for the electronic viewfinder, Sony has retained the stunning 9.44 million dot OLED panel, but now it's even better. While the Alpha 1's EVF maxed out to 60 fps, the Alpha 1 Mark II pushes the refresh rate all the way to 240 fps, delivering ultra smooth tracking, especially useful for fast moving subjects. It's worth nothing that this 240 fps mode comes with some resolution loss, but there's a new 120 fps mode as well, which strike a perfect balance and looks absolutely flawless in real world use. The EVF experience is now smoother, more stable, and more impressive than ever before. And to top it off, Sony has embraced the high curves design, making it noticeably more comfortable for extended shooting sessions. For someone like me who spends hours looking through the viewfinder, that small detail makes a big difference. As someone who loves to shooting handheld, whether it's still or even video, this next upgrade is a massive win. The Sony Alpha 1 Mark II now features optical 5-axis in-body image stabilization with a performance boost that's hard to ignore. Up to 8.5 stops of stabilization at the center and around 7 stops at the periphery of the frame. That's a huge leap from 5.5 stops offered by the original Sony Alpha 1. This isn't just a numbers game. The upgraded stabilization algorithm precisely detects and compensates for movement down to the single pixel level, allowing the camera fully exploit its 50 megapixel sensor and deliver incredible sharp details even without a tripod. For someone like me who prefer to work handheld in the field, whether I'm tracking birds through trick brush or capturing cinematic wildlife video, this upgrade is nothing short of a game changer. It gives me the freedom to move naturally and shoot in challenging conditions with confidence and clarity, knowing that every frame has the potential to be tag sharp. The Alpha 1 Mark II retains the trusted 50 megapixel XMOR RS CMOS sensor from the original Alpha 1, but Sony has fine-tuned its processing to offer better auto white balance, smarter auto exposure, and more vibrant true-to-life colors. With this high-resolution 50 megapixel sensor, you still get massive freedom to crop your images without losing fine details, an invaluable advantage for wildlife and bird photographers, especially when the subject is far or small in the frame. In terms of resolution, dynamic range, and low light performance, raw images remain almost identical to those of the Alpha 1. However, the JPG output benefits the most, with improved high ISO performance and cleaner results straight out of the camera. A particularly exciting addition is the super low noise composite image creation feature. This new shooting mode captures 4 to 32 raw frames in rapid succession and then via imaging edge desktop combines them into a single incredibly low noise composite image, something that simply wasn't possible with conventional shooting. As for the video capabilities, they remain unchanged from the original Alpha 1, which still a powerhouse for 8K and 4K recording. As a professional wildlife photographer and long-time Alpha 1 user, I can confidently say the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II feels like the camera I have always wanted in the field. It takes everything that made the original Alpha 1 legendary: speed, resolution, and reliability, and refines it to perfection with smarter autofocus, pre-capture shooting, improved stabilization, and handling upgrades that make a real difference during long demanding shoots. For bird and wildlife photography, this is not just an upgrade, it's a camera that elevates your ability to capture fleeting moments with absolute precision. If the Alpha 1 was close to perfect, the Alpha 1 Mark II is where perfection truly meets practicality.